welcome people on the internet and people in this classroom at level 8. And we're having our end of the year debates. This is their final speaking project. It's a big deal. Both teams have prepared a lot. What are we debating today? Well, violent video games lead to real violence. A popular topic, and it's kind of controversial. Sure. So what we have over here is Team Agree. Everybody give it up for Team Agree, all right? Team Agree. They have prepared a comprehensive case to say, yes, violent video games do, in fact, really lead to real violence, right? And then we have a team and Disagree over here. Give them a big hand, yes? Who else is on your team? I can't remember. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Our partner is a little unwell, so she is not able to join us.
No problem. I'll talk with her later.
But we have a prayer.
Oh, all right. What a guy. I like it. So, okay, this team is going to be making the case. No, in fact, the violent video games do not lead to real violence. Okay, I've handed out to everybody a little sheet of paper, a survey. You get to make your voice heard. You do not need to put your name on this. Did I give you one? I'll give you one. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, which one of these teams made the better case? Not which one do you necessarily agree with. You know, which one made the better case? Any arguments that you maybe that caused you to reconsider this topic? Maybe want to make any comments? Put it on the back. This is not for a grade. This is voluntary. You don't have to do it. Later on, I'll take your survey sheets and make a PDF, and everybody, both teams can look at your comments later on. So. Anyway, the way it's going to work out is that Team Agree is going to have 7 minutes to start off to make their opening arguments, followed by up to 7 minutes for this team, and then 5 minutes for rebuttal, and then 5 minutes for rebuttal, 2-minute closing remarks, 2-minute closing remarks. All right, no further ado. Let's invite Team Agree to come up first. Yay! 7 minutes closing remarks. You've got this. And the timer will be back here if you want to glance over, and I'll warn you when you have about a minute left or whatever, okay? You're going to do just fine. Anytime.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We are the Team Agree, and we're going to talk about violent game lead to real violence. And why some games have education and content. Most of these popular games emphasize negative themes and promote killing people or animals. We know that the men capture everything in general, especially that of a child man, and its possibility that everything he gets out of the game he will want to practice in real life with a friend or brothers. Everybody here knows the more you see killing, the higher possibility you are going to kill someone. Because for me, in my opinion, violent games do cause crime, because I have heard news that there was a boy was playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and he ran away from home. It was caused because he was playing Call of Duty when he had an Xbox Live. He was missing for 2 weeks, and his parents didn't take up on him or care about him. 2 weeks later, they found the child dead in the forest, but I do think that it only occurs to different types of children. So I do think that violent games cause crime. Before the video game were invented, there was no such thing as homicides. Because seriously look at World War I and II, and look at countries that don't have video game link, Somalia. Somalia has pirates and now lost because everyone is killing each other in that same country. Between people be worrying about countries where people that are able to buy them in the store kill video game. my partner, Gary, he comes to explain a little bit in other points.
Sure.
Hello everyone. I'm Paul. Yeah. Like our teams, I know talk about our menus about this. I have more element, not element. I have more factor to add. As everyone know what the fact that the scientists studied this result is if a person keep actions more than 21 days, there will be a habit or behavior on this person. So teenager is a young person, they don't have ability to control themselves. They play the games one day and days, months and months. They will be form the habit. The habit will be behavior for this for the young person or teenager. So young teenager plays a lot of bowling games. The bowling games will affect their action and behavior. This causes more and more the real violence in social. That's government pay attention to about this case in China. On the 2021, September 1st, they noticed a limit about the police schemes. That affect the organization and the government attention for this. So also have another fact we found. For instance, in 1990, Colombia's young kids were influenced by the gun and the kidnap. They were two young boys shoot over 10 kids in the California and then shoot themselves. That is the fact show the truth. The teenager playing more and more violence games will cause real violence in social. That's so this some factor we find in our socials. These bowling games cause real violence in our socials. Thank you.
Hello. Hi everyone. I want to talk about we are not, this debate is about violence game which lead to violence, okay? So everybody play game and we are not talking about games will harm everyone. Normal games everybody plays, okay? And study research from APA, American Psychological Association. They proved they did research, multiple research, and they did Iowa State University, 210 students. They did research and they find out kids, teenagers kids, if they play more and spend more time on violent game, then they want to apply that thing also on real life, and that proves recently Hillary Clinton also campaigned in 2007, year 2000, when a gunman opened fire in Sandy Hook Elementary School in 2012. She was saying almost mass shooting have almost killed 18 students in the school, and she proposed that we should ban violent game all over the US.
Just to your point, we're out of time for you guys here. Yeah, great
Okay.
start. Yeah, great start.
Well, give this team a hand. One of the things I noticed about this team, y'all are citing a lot of research and the anecdotes and stuff like that. So now I'm going to make 7 minutes available for For the opposing team, no, they say violent video games do not lead to real violence. Let's give it up for Ms. Espina.
Hi, I'm Asmita, and today I'm going to talk about the disagreement about why violent games lead to real violence. As Mr. Syed said that he gave an example of that somebody shoot at some place because he was playing a violent game. I'll give an example where it was not the same case. A long-standing debate over whether violence depicted in video games can trigger real-world violence has taken on renewal because in the wake of mass shooting in recent years. The gunman who killed 22 people and injured 24 others at Walmart in El Paso, Texas on August 3rd made a fleeting reference to video game soldier, indicating that he was familiar with video violence, and many politicians were quick to blame video games for this and other mass shootings. Yet it seemed clear that the El Paso gunman was primarily motivated by ethnic hatred. His manifesto said the attack was a response to the Hispanic invasion of Texas. Now, I would like to talk about another research. That's Jane Hull, a social psychologist at Dartmouth College and a co-author on a paper. Hull and colleagues combined data from 24 studies chosen to avoid some of the critiques addressed at previous research. Only studies that looked at the link between violent video games played and over physical aggressiveness were included. They also restricted their reviews to studies that statistically controlled for a number of variables that potentially influence the association between gaming and subsequent conduct, such as age and baseline violent behavior. Despite these limitations, the researchers discovered that children who played violent video games became more aggressive over time. However, there were only minor modifications in behavior. According to traditional methods of looking at this data, it's not a big deal. I would say it's modest. He says, but it's statistically reliable, not it's a fluke, according to the researchers. Hull's meta-analysis, according to critics of game violence linkage, does not resolve the question. They find very little. They just want to make it sound like they do, says Christopher Fergus, a psychologist at Florida State University who had written studies challenging the link between violent video games and violence. This new study attempts to negotiate a labyrinth of contradictory studies. Many studies relate gaming to increased aggressiveness, while others show no link at all. Many studies linking video games to aggressiveness have served false, according to a small but outspoken group of researchers, because they measure the frequency of angry ideas or language rather than physical hostile activities such as hitting or punching. This kind of linkage are referred to as a myth by criminologists who examine mass shootings. In 2017, the American Psychological Association's Media, Psychology and Technology section issued a statement that I have drafted, urging reports and politicians to stop connecting mass shooting to violent media due to the lack of evidence. However, as a researcher who has spent over 15 years studying violent video games, I can say that there is no evidence to these allegations that violent media and real-world violence are linked. The United States Supreme Court concluded in 2011 that there was no convincing link between violent video games and aggressive behavior. According to a review of data published in American Psychologist, playing video games, including violent shooter games, can help youngsters improve their learning, health, and social skills. The study comes as psychologists and other health professionals continue to dispute the impact of violent media on youth. A task committee of the American Psychological Association is conducted a comprehensive evaluation of research on violence in video games and interactive media, with result expected later this year. According to multiple studies covered in the article, they only generally held belief holding that playing video games is intellectually lazy. Such playing actually strengthens a range of cognitive skills such as spatial negotiation, logic, memory, and perception. The authors discovered that this is especially true for violent shooter video games. According to 2013 meta-analysis, playing shooter video games boosted a player's capacity to think about objects in 3 dimensions, just as academic courses aimed at improving these skills. According to the author, playing video games can assist children develop problem-solving skills. According to study released in 2013, the more teenagers reported playing violent video games, the more their problem-solving skills and school grades improved the following year. Other research found that playing any type of video game, include violent video games, increase children's creativity, but not when they utilize other forms of technologies such as computer or mobile phones.
That's it. Woo, all right, give it a hand, now we have 5 minutes. These folks are going to maybe bring in further research or a rebuttal of what you just heard in the opening remarks. Start thinking about which team is making the better case, and you make your comments. You can vote. You can vote anonymously. You don't need to put your name on it. In fact, I'd recommend you don't put your name on it because they'll see your comments later. So,
but vote at the last, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll submit those at the end there.
All right.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Stein. I'll give you 5 minutes, sir.
Hi. I want to contradict Shmita's statement, like the researcher says, like it will not affect. There are many incidents happen, like recently, not recently, back in 2017, when Australian guy, he killed 51 people in Christ's Mosque Church, and what he did, he had a camera on his face, and he put a camera on his gun, and because he was playing violent game all the time, so he wanted to have a live experience and record the same way he kills in the game people. So he recorded in that, and he killed 51 people inside the mosque. You know, this proves like violent game has a serious effect. And many schools in US, like in Connecticut, a boy, he killed students, and then later on, after cross questioning, he admitted that he always plays video games and he wanted to have experience how to kill someone and how he wanted to see how people die. So these are the reasons. I don't care about what researchers are saying about and their base, but these are real life we have seen in the past. And usually, you know, those people who permanently play violent game have aggression in response. And researchers suggest playing violent video games increase aggressive behavior, which lead to aggressive response, especially in children. And that is the reason in 2013, Mr. President Barack Obama called for Congress to fund research into video games, violence video games. and he present 23 points to reduce gun violence also because of that. And that is the time he said, like, because here in US you can buy gun even from the private store. So he suggested, like, they run that, like, you have whether felony or not, but they should check the background, whether like he has any disease, whether that person is like a normal or not, if whether he has felony or not, that person should not be, like, has medical disease, because that can lead also to problems. So gun violence, like, the reason people buy these things and they want to apply in life, and these games actually progress, as I said, aggression. So many people aggressive, short-tempered. Secondly, violence, blood. As is shown in these games, can have negative effect on children and can lead in insomnia. Video games are addictive and can keep children engaged for a long time. So one of the most dangerous consequences of video game is that sometimes children try to imitate the act in real life, which is dangerous as well and fatal. And if this is not dangerous, if violence game is good, then why 15 countries worldwide ban few of the violence games? So this is my question from them. Like, number one is Venezuela. Venezuela established total ban in 2009 on developing, distributing, trading, and displaying video game, in which the goal is shooting to people in those games. Brazil. The main reason games banned in Brazil: excessive violence. The games such as Mortal Kombat, Doom, Carmageddon, and Bully have been banned in this country. Country strike was blocked for a while due to content that violate the social order or threaten democratic right, that is the state and public security. And last, like, India. India also banned Mortal Kombat because that game was in 3 different states of India: Jammu and Kashmir, Gujarat, and one more state. There people were actually applying that, and so they banned that game in those 3 states. So my reason is there are other countries also, like Japan, Singapore, Malaysia. They ban those games, different games. The reason the countries they must have done research to ban that thing. Without research, without proof, So there is consequences if you play games and which can lead to something dangerous. And as I said, APA also researched, and 3 different United States state universities, they already proved this violence game have done. The reason always they pay to those researchers to do research, because it is a big industry. They are making money because of the violence video game. So those researchers company, they pay them and they give them fake report again. It will not lead to this thing. This is good. You can play.
All right.
Wow. Yeah.
All right. Now, you come on up here, Mr. Lee.
Some good research.
5 minutes to rebut and to review
Good morning, everyone. As my friend suggested that violent video games should be banned from playing games, so I agree to that. That these episodes are not appreciated. I was saying that I agree to his point that children get a little violent when they keep on playing it for the whole time, but there comes the responsibility of a person too. That if we get engaged doing the same thing, keep on repeating the same thing again and again, then it will affect your brain. Definitely, it will, anything, not even violent games. Example, if we have mobile phones, right? If we use mobile phones keep on using it for 10, 12, 14, 24 hours, then it will create a mental effect on our brain. It's not about violent video games, but it's about anything. He said that in an anecdotal example that one person had a mic, camera on his face, and he killed several people. That's right. But studies prove that he's been playing that game for several hours in the day. like 15, 16, 17, 20 hours, if he is doing the same thing again and again, then yes, it will affect his brain. There comes the responsibility of the person, of the people living in them, living with the person, of the parents who are taking care of their kids, that they allow the people, they allow the children to play the game, but not long hours. But long hours, yes, it will affect their brains. Studies have shown that violent video games also create positive effect on the person, like the kindness, creating good kindness in the person, making a person a good person. Civil engagement, like if we play violent games, we are not the only person playing, we are involved with other people too. That will create engagement with other people, talking with other people. We'll get more socialized with other people online. Also, the behavior of the person, yes, it will change a little bit if it's playing for a long time, but for a short while, if it's playing, that's all right. He will address some behavioral changes, but not that much. There are minor changes. It happens. Many risk factors are associated with youth violence, but video games are not the only thing. There are many things that the youth are doing. It's not only about the playing violent video games that will affect their life. There are several other factors that can affect their life too. So it's more important that they give time to each thing, but very less specific time, not the whole time for one thing. If we are talking about American kids, yes, American kids, around 73% of American kids aged from 2 to 17 are playing video games. In that, 6% have increased in the 2018, from 2018. Video games accounted for 17% of kids' entertainment and 11% of their entertainment spending. They are just utilizing their time so that they can relax their mind. They can come out of their situation right now. Like if they are not able to focus on their studies, if they are not able to focus on something else, so they are trying to divert their mind to something else, like some kind of games, video games, so that they can release their pressure, they can decrease their mental health, like they can not decrease the mental health, but they can like focus on something else too, so that they don't get more pressure from something specific. In 1993, public outreach following the release of violent video games called Mortal Kombat and Night Trap, proposed Congress to hold hearings on regulatory scales of video games. During the hearings, California Attorney General Dan Langford testified that violent games have a desanitizing impact on youth, impressible minds, threatening with the creation of federal regulation. The government itself is taking initiatives like Entertainment Software Rating Board that was created in September 1st, 1994 to create ratings for each of the games that are getting released. The ratings are given as early childhood, everyone 10 plus, teen, mature, adult only, rating pending, etc. In a Pew Research Center 2008 survey, 50% of the boys and 14% of the girls aged 12 to 17 listed a game of mature and adults only rating in their current top 3 favorite games. An August 2015 report from an American Psychological Association determined that playing violent games is linked to increasing aggression, but it did not find specific scientific evidence for a link between the games and increased violence.
I'll let you finish up later on.
Yeah. First of all, we're going to do one last little segment of a summary, etc. And I know most of y'all have, I got to say, it is hard to get up in front of people and speak. I'm used to it. I do it all the time. So you give them a hand for having the courage to tomorrow, you're going to do this too. And you're probably wondering, oh my God, can I speak for 7 minutes? All of them easily spoke for 7 minutes. Yeah. Public speaking is a difficult thing. So just to let you know, I am hearing what you're saying there. A lot of the points you guys were making is, violent video games do lead to real violence in the sense. Well, one thing you made a really good point. A lot of countries have banned these video games. Ooh, why are these countries taking it so seriously? If there's not, should we be taking it as seriously as Venezuela and Japan and the rest, and many parts of India, and the rest, and great anecdotes about active shooters, and et cetera. And a lot of research from Ms. Asmina. Yeah, I brought, in fact, showing that a lot of research has been done on video games, but there's no real conclusive connection between actual violence and the violent video games they play. In fact, at the end, both of you were pointing out something, that violent video games are actually beneficial, right? For spatial, well, for part of their development, cooperation, and
Negotiate.
negotiate spatial, that's the way you phrased it, I don't remember, but that was something, interesting point, yeah, I did read, he was leading it.
Spatial
Yeah, that's right.
navigation.
Mm-hmm, that's
Spatial
right.
navigation.
Spatial negotiation, and you made the point also that it helps to release stress as opposed to, so it's a difficult one, I don't really know what to say about that. I hope you all are conflicted too, hope your mind is being changed too. So we're gonna give y'all 2 minutes for a closing remark. Whoever would like to come up here and do their 2 minutes for, if you got additional things to say, or you want to just make a little summary, it's up to you. Whoever about to do it. All right. Well, there we go. 2 minutes. Okay. Yeah, 2 minutes.
Okay. So in my closing remarks, I want to thank you very much, Mr. Ali, for agreeing with us. Like video game will not affect like.
We agreed that
Right,
if we
exactly.
play for a long time, it's not that we play for, we just play
We'll have a back and forth a little bit later on, but go ahead. Yeah, 2 minutes. Okay, fine. Rhetorical moment here. Okay, then go ahead.
Okay, I thought we are 4 versus 1 because he was saying the same thing what I already stated, like playing video games, and he agreed like for some little time, if they will play more time than, and he was comparing violence video game with other things also, if kids will play this and that. We are talking about violence video game, lead to violence, not video game. Everybody play, I play video game, which I release my stress, whenever I am tired and stuff like that, everybody play video game. But the thing is that violence video game, if you play, you can have aggression, especially kids, young age kids, when they are forming their mind, when they play such brutal type of game where they see gore, blood and killing, dying, murder, all these things, they will say those things. And at one point in life, they want to apply it. This is research, and that was the thing I already earlier said in my debate, like, there are 15 countries who officially banned those games, and the reason they are given because there was a consequences which affected after that, and they banned those games, So violence video game, they are talking about violence video game which really lead to violence. You want to say something? She has something to say about closing remarks.
For conclusion, I need to place something clear. Violent video games do not only affect individuals, but also society as a whole. The sole purpose of players in this game is to be an aggressor. The heartless in this game and enjoy of killing innocent people. Create a desensitization and the exhibition to violence that can ultimately lead to a more violent society. They are also a very selfish lonely of entertainment which undermines the structure of an orderly, independent society. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, closing remarks over here. I'll give you all an extra 30 seconds too, so no worries. All right.
So, in the end, I would just like to conclude that yes, violent video games have effect, but not that much that we can see. A little bit effect. Also, we can say that the sale of violent video games in the past few years have increased a lot, and also it has been seen that the juvenile crime rates have decreased because of the violent video games, people playing that. Many risk factors are associated with the youth violence, but the video games are not amongst all of them. Violent video game players know the difference between virtual violence and the context in the game, and appropriate behavior in the real world. Violent video games provide opportunity for children to explore consequences of the violent actions, develop their moral compass, and release their stress and anger in the game, leading to the less real world aggression. Also, the US Army also uses the violent video games to teach their teach their candidates that how violence to create. They can teach the soldiers how to kill. That is the base part they start with, so that the soldiers that they are taking in the army should know what's the use, like why that they have to kill the enemy person and save their partners in their group. So that's also one of the uses that US Army, US government is doing with the violent video games. Also, I would like to say that there are many researchers doing research on this part, but none of them have concluded that yes, violent video games have impact on the children, on the people creating violence in the real life. So that's the basic conclusion, that none of the researchers have given the proof that yes, violent video games create violence in the world.
Sounds good, man. Yeah, go and have a seat. We're going to have a Q&A back and forth. All right, now we're going to open it up for question and answers. I'll tell you what. Why don't we do this? Your question, your challenge could be made in the context of a question that's from the audience. Okay, you'll get a chance to yes, back and forth. Go for it. Yeah.
So I wanna address two issues here. I mean, one issue, and I have a question for you, Mr. Alim. I wanted to say that as Mr. Syed mentioned about the New Zealand the shooting that happened at Christchurch Mosque. Now, you said that he was playing for long hours and that's what made him do that. But when he was interrogated, he mentioned in his investigation that he wanted to recreate a scene of a video game that he plays. So, I mean, that's heavily leading towards, the team agree. And other question I had, you mentioned that U.S. Army uses violent video games to train their soldiers. Now, my question is, do they use a video game or do they have a training software?
The first thing that you told about the person in New Zealand who created the actual scenario that happened, yes, I would agree that that he must be playing for a long time. That's why he got affected by that, because if I play for like couple of hours in a day, that won't make me that much aggressive, that much more violent to create that whole scenario in my real life. Because I know that that is a game, that is not a real life show. Also, the second thing that I mentioned, that you gave me the example of US Army, it can be video games, it can be the software that they can use, but it actually leads to the violence. It actually says that the violence, it's same as the software and the game. Games are for the kids, but they have to train their soldiers. So in the game level, they can't train that soldier that yes, this is the way you have to do, this is the way. In the software basis, yes, it's a high level process. It is high level training. That's why they may be using the software to train their soldiers.
It's basically, if they play a game, they have to make strategies and how to get away from that situation. So they are basically giving them brief planning.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to understand the connection here, because whatever the software is that U.S. Army is using. I mean, I just want to know that, is it available for the kids to play outside? I'm just trying to understand the connection here.
We don't think so.
We don't think so, because it's like the games are for smaller level, but teaching them on a software level, it's a very high level thing. So I don't think that the games are used for the soldier level and the software are used for the kids level.
Yeah, but regarding the U.S. Army point, soldiers are not really, you know, they're not creating violence. I mean, if they do, it's for the country, you know, just to protect the country and to, you know,
They are,
defend themselves.
He's just saying that they are getting trained how to overcome the situation or how to go with the situation, cope up with the situation.
Respond, whatever you'd like to say. You can weigh in with respond, whatever you would say.
Basically, like, he agrees already, most of the points, he already agreed with us, like, if you play game, violent video game for long time, that can lead to violence, real violence, you know? When he asked the question also, so that time, Alim responded, like, yes, he might be playing video game for long time. So that is the debate here. Debate here is, if you play game, violent video game, whether long time or not long time, anything you will play, it has consequences. It can lead, not everyone, some people can save memory and they want to apply it. That is what he has done it. He wanted to, and in Connecticut, student, like he killed many teachers and students. That's what he said also that time, because they were playing violence video game. And the reason why American research company, they are saying like it is not bad and all these things, because this is it generates revenue for the country also. That's why Congress is not passing bill, because this is giving very good revenue for the country. So they are not giving right research. But as I said earlier, 15 countries banned, so there must be some reason, sir. They banned those violent video games, you know.
But world is not about only 15 countries. It's more than 15 countries. So you can see the difference that the countries in the world are less against the video game than the not playing video.
Every country dynamic is different. Some countries have democracy, some countries have monarchy, you know, where one person is a king. So he can say no video game in this country, like Saudi and UAE, you know, they have a king. So if you have a democracy like US, they goes to Congress and they have to pass a bill. It is not guaranteed whether they pass a bill or not. So in India also, like you have a democracy in India, so they propose a bill and bill will be passed, no guarantee, you know. Where monarchy, king will say tomorrow, no, there will be no game. There will be, like UAE, I was living in Dubai and there was many websites. WhatsApp, we cannot use it for video calling. What they banned it because one person said no WhatsApp, you know.
Yeah. He said that when he talked about India, he said only three states said
yes.
No, but there are 26 states in the country and there only minority are saying no to that game and the majority are saying yes. So
it is not that those states said like we don't want this game. Indian government said this particular game should be banned in these 3 states. Not those states particularly said we don't want this game. Indian government proposed a bill and they passed a bill in those 3 states.
You know, in India there's a lot of politics.
I don't know.
That's why I'm saying there's a lot of politics that comes across these things.
Okay.
So
there must be some reason. There must be some reason for banning only in 3 states and not the whole country.
Okay.
Maybe.
Of course, there must be. That's what I said. 15 countries banned.
Maybe that's
just 15 countries.
Okay, well,
just 15 countries.
I think you both y'all made your point. Good. I think we're kind of starting to repeat ourselves. Anybody else want to make a question or spirited debate? This is great. Okay. Yeah. Maybe it's good. Anybody else want to weigh in with a comment or a question to our panelists? Anybody? Huh? You can. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. Anybody else want to do that? No. Didn't you mention Somalia in your remark? Was it what's a country?
You mentioned Somalia.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. You were mentioning a country that was. I can't remember what you said about it. Never mind. Never mind. It's my memory. Anybody else want to weigh in about this? Some of you don't really care one way or the other about video games because you don't play it. Like I know.
Most of the people I think in the American kids, they play video game, violent game. But it's like they don't play for lots of hours. They play for an hour or 2 and then they can distract for another thing like going to school, going for your hobbies and going for out. So it doesn't matter if you play or doesn't.
I'm hearing from y'all is that it's not so much the game itself, but the
Yeah,
length amount of time.
it's about the parents too, that they are playing for 10 hours, it's the parents who have to stop them, that you don't have to play for 10 hours. That will affect your mind.
You know,
It's not that you eat and your parents will let you eat for whole day. No. They will tell you, no, it's not good for your health, you have to stop. So it's just, yeah. So the games are also the same, that parents have to stop them, that you cannot play for 10
After
hours.
18, 90% kids move out. They don't live with their parents. You know, after that, whatever
They
they
have
are
to
doing.
survive for themselves, so they
Yeah.
have to work, they have to go
So
out,
they-
they cannot do just play, sit down and play the game.
They're being mature at that point, right?
Yeah, it's their responsibility to do it.
Does anybody want to weigh in with a comment or question?
I would like to illustrate Mr. Alim's point that the political issue that you were addressing. Well, actually, he's right. You gave an example about India. The India banned video games. Now, if you were to talk about, there's a video game called Rapid Fire and PUBG. That is banned in India because that's a political issue between India and China.
Okay.
And those games are Chinese games.
Not the players, but the.
Yeah.
They do have Indian version of them games, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, like whether it is a political vote, that game as a lead to violence. It can lead to violence.
It didn't lead
That's
to
what everyone
violence,
knows.
it was just an issue of
Just
a government issue.
the government issue,
because
that's what the reason.
I think
One country was killing other
Yeah.
country, that was, they were learning it. That's
No,
what
I
they were-
agree that, you know, last session, I was placed, the same topic, I was placed on a team disagree. But actually, I was in the support of the context that I agree that violent video games lead to real violence. Because I myself, I mean, as a young kid, I used to play games. And when I used to lose in the game, you know, I used to get so mad that I would think about breaking my computer, throwing everything away. And, you know, it'll really agitate me. Never thought of real violence, but, you know, it's still agitating me to, you know, break my computer, throw my phone away. And
Getting agitation doesn't mean that you only play video games and you get agitated.
What
It's
you are today
just,
because of
sometimes when
violence
your
video games,
parents
right?
don't do what
Yeah.
you want to do, you get agitated.
Okay, gotcha. So these folks, as you know, are all, and the folks that on the internet, you don't realize that maybe the teams that they're on right now, they chose a slip of paper out of a box randomly, so they were put on these teams randomly. I'm just curious, now that the debate is over, okay. Were you put in the team that you personally agree with? Adiola, are you on the team that you personally agree? Do you have an opinion personally about video games?
I am agree because in my team, everybody know when you play a violent video game, when you see always, it's probably you can do the same thing you can see in the video game. For example, in my country, in popular agreement, children have, we have one play, the name is esconderse, in Spanish, esconderse. This play is when you have a single, you can tell people. When people see this in my country, they start to imitate. In some time when I go to the church, the father in the church say, stop, buy something like gun and something like is for cause crime, because when children see the video game for have violence, they start to imitate. So that's no.
Fair enough. So you were put in the right team, and you personally. How about you, Gary? You were in the team that you agree with?
When I first read this subject, I agree with the subject. During I prepare the data on the information about this debate, I find a lot of things, information. The organizations of scientists study this case, but no evidence, the evidence to sure this the violent video can cause the real violence. But the truth is from the research the most of people agree with this violent games can cause the real violence.
Okay.
Because I asked my friends, I visited my friends, and most of my friends said is for his kids and teenagers play the violence games and change the behaviors, maybe through the broken the computers or something, angry argue with them.
Yeah.
So that's a fact. That's a fact in our daily life.
Yeah.
So we don't talk about how long the kids play the game and something happens. That is a fact. That's a fact. Maybe this play of violent games is a fact to change the behavior of the children, to make the children and teenagers more real violence in real life.
Okay, gotcha. So you were persuaded by the research and personal experience, anecdotal.
Yeah.
Were you put in the right team side yet?
Yes, I want to say, like, I have kids also, and they play video games, okay? But I keep an eye on them. I always make sure I ask my wife, like, they should not play any game which will be a problem. Not only video games, there are some games like, Sharkware, they give challenges to the kids, especially teenagers kids. And then they accept that challenge. Up till now, 130 kids suicide. And it became famous back in 2016, a student in Russia, he suicided before killing himself. He said, and he died. So up till now, 130. So research proves that whatever, if you play anything, it can lead to the real,
The
consequences.
one you mentioned there's not necessarily violent. It was
It is,
dare.
that was again a game. I'm saying like, but violence video game, yes, it lead to real violence.
Fair enough.
Because as I said, like it already proved many incidents happen in the world.
Right. How about you, Esmina? Were you put in the right team? Do you personally agree with this, or do you feel conflicted at all?
I'm never on either side because I
Yeah.
don't think so.
And
Like
you-
me, my parents, all my siblings and my cousins and we all live together and we used to play games. We never felt like arguing or maybe we were brought up like that or something, or our parents kept an eye on us. So it's just like nowadays my cousins and my cousins have children and we all live nearby. And their children are teenagers and they do play violent video games. That it doesn't mean that they don't play, but it's like we keep an eye that it's an hour now, it's up, now do something else, play with us, talk with us, let's go outside. It's up to the parents how you treat your child. Playing a video game doesn't mean that you will go out and you will kill people.
Sure.
Playing a violence video game.
Yeah,
I
violent.
hear you saying. Yeah.
It doesn't. We myself have played that games like killing people and on it doesn't mean that you.
I swear.
So because I have never done that or I haven't seen that around me, so I don't think.
Fair enough. You're conflicted. That's an
Yeah.
honest position. I appreciate that. Were you put in the right team for you personally?
I was actually on neither side of it, neither side of violent videos, because from the childhood I am not familiar with video games. I am a kind of a social person, so we used to like gather together and play some games, outdoor games, not video games. So I'm not well versed with the video games, but there was another topic in the discussion called plastic bottles should be banned. So I was more in the favor of that.
Oh, yeah, that's where you have
Because
it.
that was the thing. I had more things. So the research and everything that I gathered, it was like that's all that I can gather. The
You made a good case, even though it's not something you're
patch their
Yeah, but still,
I wish you should be on
I
our side.
think-
Because
I
most
think
of your
we should be-
material was supporting our team.
I wish I was not.
I think the people who go out and shoot also have some other problems. I don't think it's just a video game. They are combining
It's a
video
violent
games with
video
something.
game. It's a
They are
violent
combining,
pathology.
yeah,
Violent
if they are
video.
combining violent video game with something else.
You know, we can say
That-
basically
maybe
everything
it
has,
isn't-
everything
It's
has
not just
priorities.
playing video games and going out and shooting. It's also something that is urging them to do that. Now, and even in America, I can
You
say
violent
that
Rudy.
they are having, they are very easily, they can easily, they have an access to weapons.
Okay, cool. It's
Like,
easily, yeah.
okay, yeah, in India, you cannot go, you don't have a weapon in every household.
Mm,
Like, okay, but in America, yeah, it's easy. You can go and buy and your male parents have their guns. Most probably you will see that in many cases, the gun was their parents.
yeah, that's right. Okay, now we're getting to a different topic. Alright, so you see what's gonna happen tomorrow for you, what we're gonna do, right? Yeah, tomorrow, the plan is, help me out here. Plastic water bottles first, is that right? Talk to me first, is that what you guys said?
Yes.
That's right, plastic water bottles should be banned, is the first one. We're gonna do that right away, right at 11:20, so that you guys have plenty of time to talk about it. Right after that one, we'll do the one about fast food, and then we'll be done. And then on Wednesday, I'll be here doing something extra, but you know, you'll be finished with your last thingy. Okay, bye. If you wanna talk to me, you can, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
End of the day.